Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Raymond Yeung.
And I'm Harminder Singh. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. International attention falls on Hong Kong as Occupy Central leaders go on trial.
7 police officers convicted of beating Occupy activists begin their appeals.
And poverty in Hong Kong hits record high last year.
The highly anticipated trial of key figures in the 2014 Occupy Central movement began today.
The prosecutor said the defendants' roles in the movement were established in 2013 when they held a press conference to announce the civil disobedience campaign. Yupina Ng reports.
Nearly 4 years after the Occupy Central pro-democracy movement had started, the masterminds behind the mass protests were finally facing legal action in what has been billed as the most anticipated trial of the year. 9 defendants appeared at West Kowloon Law Court's building under a media frenzy this morning. They included the movement's co-founders, Pastor Chu Yeung, legal scholar Benny Tai, and fellow academic Chen Kin-man, who retired from Chinese University last week to focus on his legal battle. The group chanted slogans calling for universal suffrage outside the court before heading inside. The movement, which paralyzed traffic in key districts across Hong Kong for more than 2 months, was sparked by Beijing's political reform framework, which they saw as restrictive to the city's democratic development. The 3 founders have been charged with conspiracy to commit public nuisance, incitement to commit public nuisance, and incitement to incite public nuisance. 6 other key protesters, including democratic lawmakers and student activists, were charged with the same offenses. They have denied all charges. In his hour-long opening statement, prosecutor Andrew Bruce said the roles of the 3 founders dated back to a press conference in 2013. In that year, the trio announced the campaign as Occupy Central with love and peace. He alleged the trio had proposed citizens carry out civil disobedience if authorities showed no regard for their democratic demands. Bruce alleged the press conference was the public manifestation of their conspiracy to commit public nuisance through obstructing areas and roads in Central. Bruce said a gathering outside government headquarters on Tin Mei Avenue on 27th of September 2014 continued into the evening and after midnight. The occupation was later extended to nearby Harcourt Road and Fenwick Pier Street. Bruce labeled the proposed obstruction of the major thoroughfares as unreasonable, arguing it would cause common injury to the people. 7 video clips mainly captured by the media and ranging from 1 to 36 minutes in length were then played in court. Most of the clips centered on the press conference in March 2013, where the trio officially announced the launch of the pro-democracy campaign. A substantial part of the prosecution's case comprised of video evidence, Bruce said. They stressed at the conference that any acts of civil disobedience had to be absolutely non-violent. They also detailed 4 steps of the campaign and ways for the public to take part. Outside the court, one of the Occupy founders said the defendants denied charges partly because they were based on speeches they had made during media interviews.
We believe that the charges are unreasonable. The incitement to incite charge, not only it is unprecedented in Hong Kong, it was ruled by Australian High Court as unconstitutional because it gives too much power to the prosecution and it doesn't protect civil rights. Once this case is established, it will encroach on freedom of expression in Hong Kong.
The trial has drawn worldwide media attention. In anticipation of the large numbers of people and journalists attending the hearing, the trial was moved from the district court in Wan Chai to the West Kowloon Law Courts, which are bigger and modern. Yupina, HKIBC.
The 7 police officers convicted of insulting an Occupy Central activist 4 years ago began their appeal hearing today.
The lawyer for one of the officers said the video that showed the assault was not properly authenticated and should not have been allowed to be submitted as evidence. Riley Chan reports.
7 police officers who were jailed for beating up an Occupy Central activist in 2014 arrived at the High Court this morning for their appeal hearing. They were greeted by around a dozen supporters. Queen's Counsel Tim Owen, who represented defendant Wong Cho-sing, cast down on the TVB footage that captured the assault in Tema Park. Owen said the video was not properly authenticated. Since the news clip, which was downloaded from the internet, was edited from 3 sets of shots, Owen said it meant the group of officers might not be the same one in each shot. Owen accused the trial judge of failing to fulfill his gatekeeper role and was wrong in law to have allowed the footage to be admitted as evidence for the prosecution while overlooking the reasonable doubts. TVB's news department has refused to submit the raw footage to the court, citing confidentiality. Owen urged the court to demount the raw footage and summon the 3 cameramen who captured the assault to testify in court. The incidents took place in the early hours of October 15, 2014, during the Occupy Central protest. The 7 officers were filmed dragging handcuffed protester Ken Zeng into a dark corner near the protest site. He was subsequently kicked and punched repeatedly while he laid on the ground. The 7 officers convicted in the case are Inspector Wong Cho-sing, Senior Inspector Lau Chek Ngai, Detective Sergeant Park Wing Bun, Constable Lau Heng Pui, and Detective Constables Wong Wai Ho, Chan Siu Tang, and Kwan Ka Ho. They were all sentenced to 2 years in jail, but were granted bail pending appeal. The hearing is expected to last 3 days. Riley Chan, HKIBC.
According to the latest government report, poverty in Hong Kong hit a record high last